And welcome to another edition of International Soccer Break. I'm your host, Sahil, here with Rahi and Bick. We are getting into the Euros this summer, doing a group by group preview. We brought Bick on live from London, so that can only mean we are talking about one group that everyone cares about, England. Bick, of course, a proud Englishman, right, Bick?
As of last September.
No, that's
Congrats. Wow.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Was the citizenship hard, or what did you have to do? Did you have to get up there and what did you have to do?
Sing the anthem. Yeah, I did that as well. Well, I mean, I moved there for work. Stayed there for 5 years. Got residency, then stuck around for another year. Got citizenship. It's actually fairly straightforward, but
Nice.
Just
Came
great
here
to
for
have-
work, graduated to the high life, as they say.
exactly.
He's part of the greatest empire in the history of the world, so to speak. The sun never sets on the British Empire. All that fun stuff, right? So
Debatable, but perhaps future Euro 2024 champions. Perhaps.
yeah. So here, perhaps. So here, let's get into this. This is, of course, the group. Here's the teams at hand, and what do you guys think just off the bat?
I remember there was a World Cup where the papers when the England had the US in the group, they called it easy, right? It was England, Algeria, Slovenia, and the US. This is what I would call for England so damn simple. Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia. This is an easy group for England. They should walk through this group, I think. These aren't teams that are going to give them much trouble. They might have a few problems with Slovenia, just a weird team for them to play, though it seems like a team that they play over and over again over the years in some kind of qualifiers. Denmark, to me, is not the same team that they played in the last year. It's a different Denmark team. It's a disappointing Denmark team that really didn't do well in the World Cup. I don't see England having many problems here.
Yeah, I'm always reluctant to, go into World Cups or Euros too optimistic, because England, as they did last time they were in the same group as Slovenia, make things hard for themselves. But I am fairly optimistic this time. I think Southgate especially is good at beating teams that England should beat. So yeah, I'm about as optimistic as I think you can be as an England fan.
Okay, let's talk about each individual team. What I'm liking is the fact that you guys are optimistic, because I've always found whenever the English press and the English media says this is the year we're going to win, it turns into a beautiful, exciting story. Not that I'm not an England fan. I just love the drama around it, man. So
I didn't say England were going to win. I didn't say
beautiful tragedy, as they
get
say.
him out of the group.
Just at this stage, though, they generally don't struggle in the group stage. Even though they often trip up, they often get through groups fairly easily.
Yeah, I want to remind you of a Euro where there was a Romania, Portugal, Germany, and England. Which back in year 2000, which was I know, but what's interesting is I feel like now the current generation has come to the point where the fans actually believe, just like they did in the golden generation. So you could argue that this is the new golden generation, right, of English football. So okay, let's kind of get into the different groups. We saw the groups there. So okay, let's start with England, of course. Obviously, Bick, tons and tons of talent. Fantastic seasons. Is there anything this team is missing?
I think in the later stages, I wish they would have had they will have a more attacking coach. That's my only thing, because there's a lot of attacking talent, and I don't think it's used to the extent that it should be. I think defensively, in terms of organization, in terms of belief, in terms of professionalism, I think it's a good team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's necessary for the group stages. It'll, keep it simple, and 1-0 wins here and there should be great.
It's a little difficult, I think, because I think where they're lacking is at the top, management-wise. Yeah. And it's tough because he's got a lot of options, right? So many attacking options. Sometimes that makes things very difficult because you have to get the combination right. And he hasn't always done that. And I don't understand why at times this team disappears in games. 40, 50 minutes, they seem like they're sleepwalking through a performance. I don't quite get it. Even this last World Cup against France, it's a team that they can beat. And it looked like for times, with all the attacking talent they have, they don't put their foot to the gas pedal for 60, 70, 80 minutes. For periods of the game, they disappear. And I'm not sure what that is. I think it comes down to tactics and it comes down to the way they're coached. Because as talented as this team is, they very rarely fire on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think there's definitely two elements there. So I agree on the tactics bit. I also think there is a history element to it. And I think England do get nervous in the later stages. You guys are talking about Real Madrid and, their pedigree in European football. England has the opposite, right? There's one World Cup and have fallen at the last stage so many times. So I think when they get to the quarters, to the semis, they're up against France and Italy. France and Italy, like, if they lose those matches, it's whatever, we'll win again. With England, it's always like, if we don't win now, we never will. And I think there is a nervousness that comes to it. And we saw that in the last Euro finals.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, before they can get through, though, in the group phase, you obviously know, like, the names are abundant. We don't need to go on the players, but, you have the likes of Kane, Saka, Foden, in the back. You have John Stones. You're going to have Pickford in goal. You're going to have Declan Rice, who had a fantastic season. Just talent.
But that's the thing. They're all having great seasons. Phil Foden looks better than he's ever looked in his life. Right?
And then Cole Palmer, who I was actually there, where I saw when he scored 4 goals in that. I think it was a Premier League match against Everton.
Yeah. West Ham, Aston Villa, all these potential teams, they're top players with, whether it's Ollie Watkins or Jared Bowen, all potentially getting a look in. But the stalwarts, we know who the stalwarts are going to be in the regulars, and so that's England. Okay, moving on to let's go before we get to the something. Let's start with Slovenia. So Slovenia is kind of the team with the second lowest ranked team besides Albania in the tournament, but they finally made it through. Rahi, you and I have been to Slovenia, so we do hold a soft spot in our heart for Slovenia. Obviously led in the back by Jan Oblak, who's been a stalwart for Atletico Madrid for years. But then they now have Benjamin Sesko, who's actually showing some waves for Leipzig in the Bundesliga.
I think he's about to set this tournament on fire. Young, very tall, but very deadly. I don't know if you have seen the goal he scored against Sweden in the Nations League. Watch that goal. It's incredible. It's a volley sort of on his left foot. This guy has the potential to really set this tournament on fire. He's very young. Zahovic, who's sort of the most famous Slovenian player, has already said that I expect him to break my record. I already believe it's over. He's going to break my record for Slovenian goals very soon. This kid is really, it's be interesting because it's a moment for him to I think, set a tournament on fire. Let's see if he does it or not. And that could be the difference. They're strong in goal and up front, and the rest is we'll see, right? Always very technical. Not at big clubs, but never sleep on Slovenia. Never sleep on the Eastern European teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, look, you said good in goal and good up front. When Brian Clough he was a great manager from England, he was always asked about how he would build his team. He's like, I need a good goalkeeper, I need a good striker. That does take care of a lot of issues. And if in the middle, like the team puts in a good performance, you never know. It sounds very much like they could be one of those teams that, hold the fort against tougher teams for 75, 80 minutes and then score in the last 10, and you never know.
Yeah. They get a goal, and then it's scary times.
And you need someone to score the goals on the other end. It's a game.
100%. And they have a pretty decent record against Serbia. So let's talk Serbia next. This is a team that always, in my opinion, fails to impress. And I don't know what it is, Rahi, but same thing here. You have Mitrovic, you have his teammate at Al Hilal, who's Milinkovic-Savic, but yet a lot of talent there, just never gets over the hump.
I mean, you have Tadic, Vlahovic, right? You have like all these incredible players. And I don't know what it is. Time and time again, the Serbian team seems to fall apart. We talk to your point about Real Madrid and collective spirit. I always wonder what it is, but there doesn't seem to be that collective spirit. You'll watch Serbia, 60th minute, they're down and they start complaining or arguing with each other. I don't know why that happens, and it maybe starts at the top. But year after year, this Serbia over the years, extremely talented, and this team is very talented up front.
Yeah.
I just can't trust them.
It doesn't look as strong as the previous Serbian teams, though. And I think in the past, Serbia has always been in tough groups. It's just like they don't seem to have the luck of the draw. They always seem to draw Argentina or one of the other
Brazil or something, right?
Yeah. And I know why they haven't done as well in the World Cups, but yeah, I mean, like also like again, Mitrovic, he's not playing in the Premier League, he's playing in Saudi, and I know it's becoming a much better league, but again, is he having that day-to-day sort of competition?
Fair. And Tadic is he's now at Fenerbahce. So
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
but still, when I think about those players, the three of them together, Dusan Vlahovic, Tadic, I mean, they're just the three. Mitrovic, it should be incredible to watch, but they don't
really should. Now let's finish with Denmark, who has a good record against both Slovenia and Serbia historically. Not a very good record against England, and so that's kind of what everyone's thinking. Okay, these three teams for the second place in the group. What do we think about Denmark, though? Because a lot of hype coming out of last Euro, had a very strong team, lost to England in that semi-finals, a lot of controversy on the penalty that was awarded. But it's not the same Danish team in terms of, I think, the potential.
It's not the same, but it's similar to the Slovenian story. Very good in the back, right? Two excellent central defenders, and Christensen, and then you have Joachim Andersen. And then up front, you have Shesko's teammate, right? Josip Poulsen. So there's talent. Yeah. They're a team that's difficult to score on, not particularly fun to watch over the years. But you never know. I mean, they have the talent. I haven't been impressed with Denmark over the years. The last year they were good, but that had the home field advantage and everything. For me, I'm not sure.
Now they have and Vic, they have Manchester United's finest signing, right?
I mean, he's doing a lot better now. He was mocked for the longest time, so he might have a point to prove, especially to the English media. A lot of these players really up their performances against England for that reason.
Yeah,
because they get mocked in the media and amongst the fans. So you never know. And he scored what, 7 goals for Man U? Like, he's done okay. He's not done too. I mean, he had a bad start, but he's picked it up now. So
and whenever you have a good, like you said, whenever you've had a good goalkeeper like you do in Kasper Schmeichel, you're always in it. And
you're
so
always in the chance,
and Højlund's the kind of guy who he seems like a fighter, right? He seems like the guys who just shows up in moments and you feel like he'll have a good tournament. You feel like he'll find ways to score.
Yeah, and Holberg's had a pretty good season for Tottenham as well. So you have that too, right? So
exactly. And they'd be more used to the English players than some of the others. And I also feel like there are a lot of players who don't do as well in the league, and then when the World Cup comes around or the Euros come around, they'll always up their performance for the national team, and then they'll go back to their regular form for the league. So you never know. We'll find out whether he's one of those as well.
Yeah. Okay. So now here I'm putting you guys on the spot. Which of these teams get through? Who wants to go first? Rahi?
Yeah, I think England tops the group. I think the second place comes. It's interesting because all these three teams could get second. I go Slovenia. I'm excited about the young talent they have. I'm going Slovenia, but it very well could be Denmark.
Yeah, I mean, Denmark and Slovenia were in the same qualifying group, and it was one draw and one win for Denmark. So I'm going to go with Denmark, I think, for the second place.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll make it a full house. I'll say this year is the year that Serbia somehow figures it out and gets through. So I'll go England and Serbia. Okay, now a fun segment we want to end each of these previews with is we're going to go country by country and who's the most famous person from the country currently or in modern times, we should say. So let's start with Serbia. Boys, let's start with that. Who we got?
Serbia is easy. I think it's got to be Novak Djokovic, right? He is the star, the man. No debate for me.
But what about Mr. Jokic, Bick? Mr. Basketball Jokic?
I don't watch much basketball, so I'm going to go with Djokovic.
I don't know. I think Nikola Jokic, the best basketball player currently in the world, I think could make an argument for that. What do we think? Djokovic, based on his history?
Yeah, I go Djokovic.
Okay. All right. Let's go now. Slovenia. Going back to basketball, obviously. Rahi, there's
Luka Doncic, who's a very, very famous basketball player in the U.S. But there's also another famous person in the U.S. Vic, I think you know where I'm headed.
Yeah, exactly. Could be future and previous First Lady, Melania Trump.
Yeah. I think for this one, I think we got to go Doncic, I think.
Yeah.
I think Melania, really? Okay.
Really? All right.
I think Melania.
Well, I think Melania's probably got more name recognition.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's positive name recognition.
Okay. On that note,
that's fair. That's fair. We'll give you that one. All right, Denmark. This is a hard one. What do you think? In the acting world? Are we going acting world?
Yeah, I go acting. I go to Aragorn himself, Viggo Mortensen. That's for me. Lord of the Rings fame.
Yeah. Vic?
I don't know too many famous Danes. Nikolai Coster-Waldau, like the guy who played Jaime Lannister.
Yeah. I think it's between three actors. I think it's between Viggo Mortensen, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and Mads Mikkelsen. I think these are the three Danes that are making waves right now. Yeah. That's a tough one. Who are we going?
Okay, but I'm excited for England. Can we do England?
Okay, let's do it.
I think Vigo. I think we can go with Vigo for that.
Vigo? Okay.
Vigo. I go Vigo.
All right. Here's the one everyone's waiting for. England. What do we think?
Gotta go with Bex.
I think it's Bex too. I think it's Bex. I mean, you could go with the princes. You go Harry Styles. But I think you gotta go Bex.
Yeah.
Hey, some Beatles still around, man. We still got Paul McCartney.
But you gotta go.
Like people will recognize Paul. But,
Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger still running around, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of English people running around, especially in America, all over the world, really. But I think Beckham's got that. He's got that worldwide appeal across football. But he's extended beyond that. His son's got his own cooking show, I think, right?
He's on the back of that documentary. I think.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly.
All right, fair. And being a football/soccer show, we will go with David Beckham and end with there. So that was a good preview, in depth, a little bit longer video, which is great. People get to see us more now. But if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe. We'll be bringing you all the latest from Euro, covering the tournament. Rahi and Bick, you guys will be front and center there, correct?
We're gonna be England, Denmark in Frankfurt on the 20th, so we'll be there.
Yeah. So for all the fans out there, we'll give you a breakdown of that game, and you'll get some live social media from these all. As I always say out there, guys, excited for Euro, excited for what's coming up in the summer a little later, and everyone out there, please keep watching the beautiful game.